AMC's in an interesting short-term spot as we kind of get a nice move up after hitting that 280 rough support level. Right around that area, we get a nice movement up, talking roughly around a 15 to 14% movement from that range, but then we get shut down right away, cannot hold that peak there. And then we see a little bit of back and forth. Buyers try to push it back up, and we close in a pretty indecisive day between the buyers and the sellers, closing at that 307 level, trying to reclaim that resistance as possible support and trend our way back up to this hard long-term resistance that we've been covering in the AMC videos. So nice to see that volatility has picked back up for the buyers here. The question is, can we regain that 310 rough level as support and trend back up to that resistance, or are the sellers going to push the buyers lower? All right, guys, on the weekly chart, we see that AMC is a very beat up stock, so we're really analyzing the short term here. The long term is very much beat up, but we're seeing what we can see from the short term and see if we can compile some momentum up for the long term. So in the shorter term weekly picture, we've had a lot of chop between that $5 and $4 psychological level, leading to a downside trend, leading to a double bounce here, right? We hit the bottom of the floor at that 238, and then we hit right around that level, kind of double bottoming and trending upwards. But then we kind of see a movement downwards, but we hold a bit higher. We don't hit right back to that floor, retesting that point. We hold a bit higher, get another move up, but get shut down once again right around that same level of around that $360 level. Trying to get past that $5 range, we create some sort of resistance, stemming this very long movement to the downside. We retest right at that resistance, we get shut down, and most recently we've retested that exact point again and we got shut down. So is it time we kind of see a short squeeze like effect with the buyers blowing past this point? Kind of getting tight once again, retesting it pretty quickly after just getting a failed retest and then finally blowing past it. Now, volume has to be on AMC's side here, but AMC is no stranger to these very aggressive volatile moves up and down. So definitely could be seeing a short squeeze like effect here if the buyers can get right back up to the ceiling of that resistance. As we've seen in the past, after hitting that bottom, we see a very aggressive move all the way up to that $11 level, but cannot hold and we get shut all the way back down. Just an example of how volatile this stock can be. So from the short term, we do look pretty nice for a retest here coming off of the weekly perspective. All right, guys, on the daily chart, we do see most recently that nice move to the upside, but we do have to note that extreme move to the downside. We're talking about a lot of candles here with sellers and that full control, bringing us all the way from that top of that resistance right around that 360 level, retracing that entire movement back down to that 283, right where we broke out of this descending channel here, right? Tested that channel break once here, twice here, 3 times here, that being successfully gapping up and continuing. And then we come right back down to that floor here, guys. That's where we see that nice bounce, a continuation, but buyers cannot hold that move. We close right around that area, right under that 310 level. And then you see buyers step back in and test the ceiling once again, closing right around that 307 level and quite a narrow ascending profile. So this long-term resistance is our main focus. As long as this long-term resistance is in play, we are still leaning bearish for AMC, right? We have to break that. We see that has shut us down very aggressively every time we've hit it. See in the past, the first time we hit that point, kind of made that resistance. We see lots of red candles in a row, lots of continuation. We're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 red candles in a row, kind of play around the support for a bit before getting a continued movement to the downside. And once again, once we come right back up, guys, similar thing happening, right? We do see a little bit of indecision between the buyers and the sellers, but nevertheless, retracing that entire movement pretty much, and then finding another break, hitting that resistance for a third time, leading us to a very seller controlled movement to the downside, retracing that nice movement up. So we're seeing a very similar pattern going on here for the short term of AMC, and that resistance is definitely a tough point to break for the buyers. So for the buyers, you do want to see, these little wins, right? The buyers kind of claim that 310 level as support, trend up in a tighter fashion, maybe flag out here from a decent move up, retest that point, and then see a short squeeze like effect with volume and volatility really picking up to propel the stock out of that range where we'd have some better, medium to long-term buyer momentum on our side. And then for the bears, you want to see the opposite, try to, continue to win these little battles as they have been winning. Don't let the buyers get back within this range using it as support, break this ascending profile that they have going on. If they cannot do that, the other better option for the sellers is to hold this resistance like it has been holding up very nicely, rejecting the buyers, continuing this further move down in this very long-term downtrend that we've been seeing. As we see on the monthly, stock is just extremely beat up, and that's what's been happening, guys. For a very long time now, the sellers have been in that ultimate control, bringing the stock down. Buyers try to make a move up, they cannot, and just really, really crushing the stock. So you definitely want to see buyers step in here and start to change the pattern as they have to break this resistance for any good buyer momentum. Let's say they do break that resistance, you'll be looking at the target of 363. That being a tougher resistance there, kind of meeting up with that resistance as well as that 363 level, and kind of just being a tough resistance in the past. So That would be the price target to break after breaking that resistance here. And then stemming to that $4 psychological level, that would be the ultimate top price target after breaking this resistance. But buyers definitely have to win this battle by claiming this 310 as support and trending tighter to that zone in a healthier fashion. All right, guys, now on the hourly, we see exactly where we kind of got that balance here. So sellers really in that ultimate control. After getting rejected off this tougher resistance, we come back to the floor exactly at that 278 level. And then you see a pretty nice ascending profile from there. We see that buyers get that bottom around that 278, kind of find a little bit of an ascending support, and then gap up, try to continue to that 320 level, but then we get shot down by the sellers. Once again, finding that ascending support, getting that nice move up, and now getting tighter on that ascending support. So I think it's likely that we see a short squeeze effect up. Do have some considerable selling action right here, but as long as, in the shorter term, we get a very nice squeeze-like effect and volume starts to flush in here, we could be seeing a nice movement up, retesting that 320, trying to get over that. If not, possibly flagging out like we were mentioning. Finding this support of 310 to 325, kind of chopping around and, meeting up with this resistance, trying to get a movement up. So those are the possibilities I see. I do favor the bulls in the very short-term perspective, gaining this level as support and possibly trying to find a movement back up, retesting that harder resistance. The tough resistance is really what brought us down, last time. So I think that we do get that retest of that resistance. Could take a little bit of time, but within the next couple of weeks or so, we should be getting a retest of that point. So short-term bullish to find that retest, but as long as we're within this range of that tough resistance, we do remain bearish on the channel overall. Definitely a point to break for the bulls to have that ultimate momentum. All right, guys, so that'll do it for the AMC analysis. Let me know if you guys want to continue to see AMC on the channel. As long as there's demand for me to make videos on it, I will continue to make videos. If you do enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe. And as always, guys, trade smart, and I will see you all in the next one.